I was here about 15 years ago, and I was actually here when the Jazz Festival was playing. It's kind of full circle for me because I'm actually getting the headline here. So I'm very blessed to be here. This place is a blessing.
That's the magic to it. And you're from Birmingham, Alabama, correct? Yes. So I was curious to know, coming from such a place with such support and heart in music, how has that changed you and really encouraged your career with bands like Widespread Panic and all the brothers?
Well, you know, it's funny, you know, being in the Southeast, you know, Southern music.
Give it up, let's get the whole walls on the other. Myself, anyway, it's the 102nd time we've done this. We're very excited.
Absolutely, and actually, in fact, with that, your style of music is pretty broad. You know, from country to the southern style, southern rock. So it's really that influence. It's just
I just try to take as much as I can from a lot of different styles of music. Obviously, on my vacations, I get to see from a musician standpoint, I think you have to digest as much as you can. And even if it's not your own style.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Each of those,
Welcome to playing tonight at the Opera House at the Jazz After Dark series, about 10-15 show at the Opera House.
And I believe you had, the first musical instrument was bought for the grand price of $2.
Are you only a little bit longer to
I was that. I haven't done chicken for your musical instrument.
But, you know, it changed my life, actually. But, you know, I will never buy there's somebody else's Luckily, I come home, but, you know, that was an instrument that was,
good deal. So if you want to look a little bit
musical ear standpoint, to be able to pick up and play.
And we've got the Roger Mason, Telluride Jazz put in a bid for that, along with the Wooden Marcel and Grave and Clown and Trumpet over there. Good things. We feel like
about that creativity. It's a little easier than we had it.
Yeah, they need some smaller travel.
One question that I'd like to ask, and I also am going to open this up to the like, obviously I'm sure you have questions. That is some sort of how we're running this interview. But you played a teenager in Greece, and it's brought about a little bit of an acting career on Broadway for you. And I just wanted you to kind of expound on that.
Yeah, I never hear being from Alabama. Being show being so involved with television, I've always been really trying to play that on the stage. From character.
And Terry mentioned it a little bit earlier today, but give a shout out to the people who like the Belton contract
so I had to really build a character.
$1,000. Peter and Sharon Bell, Mark and Sharon Berman, Georgianne and John
So now, you know, it's interesting.
Peter Cogan,
You know,
and Benny Cohen.
from a live music standpoint, I'm having to go back. It's almost like
Alexander and Paul Jardin, Grace and Paul Embry, Funny and God,
maintain a balance.
Steele,
Broadway
David
theater
Truman, Jerry Green,
allowed me
Judy and Warner Hall,
transcend a
Nancy
lot of the
Warren,
musical
Ronald
influences in the visual
Lewin
influences
Cruz,
on the stage and now.
Randy Mandel, Joe and Bill Masters, our favorite chef, the Vasco Realty, the Sullivan Jack Perone, Angie Peterson, Nancy Pitt, John Pryor,
Welcome to
in memory of Robert
You recently announced that you were going to collaborate with Kemmo. And Kemmo produced Talking to Your Son, Teresa Haley, who's going to perform tomorrow. And that album was credited with having a lot of musical influences. Is that what you're looking for with collaboration with Kemmo? Because he was given a lot of credit for that diverse blend.
If I could just sort of repeat the question, it's with the Kembo and the Applemans coming about, what was the musician that's playing tomorrow night? Lisa Haley, excuse me.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, you know, obviously I've known Kev for a long time. Actually, pre-Idol, I used to he used to come and see me play, and we've been buddies for a long time. And you know, I'm really excited that he's going to be involved in the project for the next record. So, you know, I need to try to escape from this beautiful mountain area, which is very hard to do, and go write some music in a room, which is, you know, not as appealing right now, considering it's 75 degrees. You know, there's a, you know, actually extended my stay. You know, it was like, I woke up this morning and I was like, you know what, you know, they're gonna have to drag me. So, with that being said, you know, I am being kind of a lazy mountain musician, if you will, and not really trying to, you know, try to get into a writing mode, but I will. I'm excited about the musicians that are working on the record. Obviously, Kembo is a big influence of mine, and you know, the next step is there.
Yes.
How did you know? What age did you feel like you would be a performer or a singer? What age?
The question is, at what age did you feel like you would be a performer or a singer?
You know, as far as I can remember, actually. You know, there was you know, what really helped being able to materialize a vision is having the vision at an early age. So when I was about, you know, 3 or 4, you know, it was kind of weird. It was kind of an obsessive vision that, you know, ultimately materialized over time. So it was, you know, luckily it was very young, to say the least. So, I don't know if I was actually good at that time, but I was getting better.
Does the altitude affect your performances?
Does the altitude affect your performances?
I would say if I just have gotten here, I probably be on an oxygen tank. But that's not the case. I flew in obviously early, and you know, the band actually got here this morning. So yeah, you know when you're I called my friends and my family back home, and I told them that I was at 9,545 feet, and they said, "Well, we just Googled ourselves, and we're at 525." You know, with that being said, it was you know, it does take an effect on you, but you know, obviously lots of water, and you know, before you play, and then obviously lots of beer afterwards. I think that's how you manage to cope, you know, which is not a bad deal at all. Free beer. Yes. It's free, you know. Thank goodness.
Will you be including some of your earlier work in your new album?
You know, you never know. Actually, you know, with the start of a record project, you know, what's interesting. What's great about it is that you go back as a kid, and you know, it's almost like going back and trying to acquire and find songs that you really love. You know, so you know, songs that people have never heard of, whether it be from your childhood or whether it be from recent. So yeah, you know, you do borrow from that from a certain degree. You know, we'll see. We'll see. You know, I don't want to give away any secrets. You know, secrets these days in the music business are, you know, worth its weight in gold. So.
Taylor, what was one of the most interesting sit-ins? Someone you sat in with that you thought was one of the most interesting?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
repeating
I'm sorry.
the question was, what was one of the most interesting sit-ins with musicians
And
that you've had?
are you planning to sit in with anybody tonight?
And do you plan on sitting in with anybody tonight?
You know, you know, I called Snoop Dogg, and you know, I asked Snoop. I said, have you ever thought about blues? Have you ever thought about blues harmonica on rap music? Because I don't think that's ever been, you know, I don't think it's ever been kind of incorporated. You know, he said he was actually playing in my hometown, and he said no, and I said, well, would you like blues harmonica on gin and juice? And he said, you know, he was like, yeah, you know, of course he's cool with everything. So, you know, I actually played harmonica with Snoop Dogg. You know, that was kind of an interesting collaboration, but it was well worth it. It was cool. But yes, I will probably go downtown, and you know, I kind of laid low last night, so I'll probably go downtown tonight and play. Yeah.
Good question.
Good question. And Willie Nelson.
Did you go on the bus?
Did you go on the bus?
I'm pleading the fifth. Wink, wink.
Where do you have up and coming playing? I mean, I know it's up to top Telluride, of course.
Well, you know, I'm taking some time off to write the record. Actually, you know, I've been living out of a suitcase for 6 years, and so I'm kind of excited about doing some house hunting. You know, whether it's not actually buying, but it's like renting. But I'll take it. You know, so I'm excited about that, and I'm doing some stuff in California. You know, and I'll be in California in a couple of weeks. But I'm going to take some time and write for places.
Writing, that was one other thing too, and I recognize that you had written an autobiography. I was really taken by the title. It's entitled A Heart Full of Soul, and an inspirational memoir about finding your voice and finding your way. And it just struck me as definitely something that really reached down in you. Can you expound on the experience of writing a book?
Well, when Simon Cowell keeps telling you week after week you look like you're 60, you know, then you decide to do it. No, I'm just joking. You know, the story is that, you know, I mean, anybody can, if they put their mind to it, and the karma wheel is intact, you know, they can accomplish anything. And that's, you know, that's kind of, and it was also nice to get your story out there, because, you know, when something happens like American Idol, you know, you really, a lot of people put a lot of words in your mouth, and you know, for this particular, you know, book, it was, you know, inspirational in that you can do anything you want. And you know, also it was kind of an autobiography of where I come from in my own words.
I'm sorry, just hold it down here.
Will there be a sequel?
Well, so the question is, will there be a sequel to the book?
Well, I've actually been talking to Paula Dean about a cookbook, so
Yes.
we'll see. You know, you know, it's. I hope, you know, I hope so, because you know, I enjoyed, you know, writing. David Wild was my writer with me. He writes with the Emmys and stuff, and he really kind of helped me kind of get the you know, the thoughts out there. But you know, I think it's definitely more of a lighthearted you know, sequel. I would think if I did it, maybe like How to Look 50 and Win American Idol. I think that would be good.
Question over here.
Taylor, was American Idol kind of like a hero's journey where you had to go through, you had to do a transformation through that experience?
Was American Idol sort of like a journey, a transformational journey?
Yeah, you know, it was because, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, you don't realize just how many people, you know, begin to know who you are. I think after I got done, I think 200 million people have watched the season across the world. And, you know, that being said, it's just, you know, you really have to go through a lot to deal with that. And luckily, I've had, you know, 17 or so years of performing to be able to make the transition, which was fairly easy for me, unlike some other folks. But yeah, you know, I mean, it's you really kind of just, you know, I mean, it is an amazing journey, but you have to take it as a gift and use it for the good of other people.
And your brother, didn't your brother convince you to go to American Idol? I was always wondering if you were grateful or different or...
You know, interestingly enough, I don't know if people know about this story, but I was one of the last cab rides out of Hurricane Katrina. So I remember looking down St. Charles Avenue, like, and there's no cabs, and they fled. All the taxi cabs had fled. And so I hopped in a cab and drove 15 hours in contraflow traffic to West Monroe, Louisiana. I rented a car, the storm passed, and Southwest gave me a free ticket anywhere in the country. I drove to Birmingham, I got on a plane, I said, I've never been to Vegas before, so why don't I go to Vegas? So I got to Vegas at midnight. About 1:30, my brother called me and said, "Idle tryouts are in 2 hours. You need to go." And I want to play slots, you know. And you know, so I was like, you know, what the heck? So I went, you know, 2 hours later, I walked down to the convention center in Oregon, which is, you know, fate. I do believe in fate.
Did you play slots?
Yeah.
I did, yeah. I played a few slots after I got my golden ticket. And I'm still playing them, actually.
Any other questions?
What's your favorite?
Yeah.
What do you love about being here?
What do you love about being here in the mountains? Is it another world for you?
Well, yeah, it's, I mean, obviously being from LA, lower Alabama, you know, it is kind of like a different world. And, you know, it really, I think it's just, it's good for your soul. You know, I think, you know, the air and just the, you know, the exercise, and I think it's, you know, a very healthy way to live here, and that definitely helps with, you know, getting older. You know, the age expectancy rate's probably like 212 out there. So, yeah, I love it. Yeah.
You know, it's funny you talk a lot about getting older and all of that, and you're older than I am, and we have a lot of youth here in Telluride, and especially with the Telluride All-Stars performing, and a lot of the interviews that I've been doing, our performers have been working a lot with the young musicians these days, and I just find it to be really interesting and wonder from your perspective, you know, advice or things to say to those people who are really aspiring.
Well, that's a great question, because you know, as a kid, it's hard to, you know, it's hard to like, you know, come up to people and ask them for help and advice. And you know, my advice would be, you know, to, you know, once you break down the wall and go in and ask people to help you, whether it be older musicians or teachers or, you know, different people. If you break down that first wall, it's easier to break down the second and the third and the fourth. So, you know, you really just got to go for it. If there's a musician in town that you really love, you know, go and talk to him. You know, if you want to play in his band, you know, find out where he eats breakfast. You know, find. You know, so you really have to like, really, you know, go for it. You know, and try not to, you know, because it's tough. You know, I have a tough time like going up to people and meeting them and stuff. But I think, you know, if you do that over time, and it gets easier, and you can accomplish a lot.
Realizing everybody's people in general, right?
Yeah.
Aside from Telluride, do you have a favorite venue or city that you look forward to playing at?
Aside from Telluride, do you have a favorite venue or city that you look forward to playing?
Is that a trick question? You know,
You're being recorded.
Yeah, I see that. You know, I'm just happy to play anywhere, and I really mean that. You know, I've played in some of the places I've never dreamed that I would play. You know, I would say the Beacon, and you know, some places like that, Red Rocks with Willie. It's just, you know, some of those places are, you know, that you only dream about, and you know, I'm just happy to still play. This is not an easy business.
Question.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Little Memphis Blues Orchestra?
Tell us a little bit about the Little Memphis Blues Orchestra.
That's right. Well, you know what's interesting is that a lot of the guys that I used to play with, Little Memphis is a piano player from Memphis that I actually found in Nashville when I was living there before American Idol, and you know, his name Little Memphis. He's a great, you know, stride piano player. Bars a lot from Jerry Lee Lewis. And, you know, we started this little band, and in Birmingham, and it was called Hicks and the Little Memphis Blues Orchestra. So, you know, it was so cool to bring the guys back out and, you know, be able to play in a place like this. It's really a blessing.
Yeah. One more. Okay. We have time for one more question. Yes.
When you write your songs, do you need to be cloistered in a room to write, or what brings out your creative writing?
What brings out your creative writing? Do you need to be in a room to write?
You know, I think it's interesting. I think if you just keep living, you can figure out, like, you know, for instance, like you'll be reading the newspaper and you'll see a lie in the newspaper, and you'll for it, you know, or you'll hear, or you'll, you know, find, you know, one of your buddies that you think's really crazy and sit down with him or her for like 2 hours and you'll find something, you know. And I think with that being said, you know, you can find it, for me, you can find it anywhere. It's not really just within, you know, an enclosed room, but that does help. But, you know, I think if you keep your antennas up all the time, you can find things.
Thank you, and I want to thank everybody for coming to join us and asking us questions. And of course, Taylor Hicks, thank you so much. We're more than honored to have you here in Telluride, Colorado.
Thank you.
At 7 p.m. So we look forward to seeing you.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice to see y'all. Hey Clay, have you got a Sharpie? Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you going to sign later today?
Yeah, I will be signing records and shirts outside.
Okay. Thank you.
J-O-A-N, John. Thanks so much.
18, sorry. 14, 16, 18. What? Sorry. 17.
But yeah, I mean, hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Good. How are you?
Perfect.
Thank you.
All right.
Question: have you read Keith Richards' book?
No, I want to.
Next time you're on a plane, read it.
People have said.
Songwriting and
Thank you for coming to Colorado. We appreciate it.
Looking forward to the show.
Yeah,
Thank you. So we have 4:30.
Good to see you.
So much for tweeting.
All right.
Our fans loved it.